EA Sports just revealed the biggest update of Madden 26 so far. Now this video here is sponsored by EA, as they did allow me to get some early footage of this update before it goes live tomorrow so that I could show you guys. This update has everything from tons of new content, gameplay fixes, new stuff for franchise mode, new X Factor and Superstar players, and more. I mean, pretty much anything you could think of, it got addressed in this update. And if you're new to the channel and you never want to miss out on any of these important Madden updates, make sure to subscribe and turn the bell icon on so you don't miss any of these important videos when I drop them. Trying to get to 700k subs soon, so if everybody watching just subscribed, we can hit those numbers in a few days. Now we're going to dive into this update. Let's start with the blog here. It says, our latest title update for Madden 26 honors the legacy of Coach John Madden with the Be All Madden update, a celebration of the coach, the commentator, and the legend whose name defines football. This update is packed with content game-wide, including a new Play Now experience, franchise upgrades, and more. Now, on top of the other things we're going to go over in this update, one of the big focuses of it is kind of the celebration of John Madden as we get close to Thanksgiving week, because the NFL is kind of starting to do that every year now, where they're going to be honoring John Madden because he's kind of synonymous with the Thanksgiving game. And now in Madden, they're kind of celebrating that further as well. So it says here, we're celebrating the legacy of Coach John Madden with our latest title update. Be All Madden is coming, and it's a tribute to the man who helped define football for generations of players and fans. Take the field in the All Madden Legacy game, where the historic All Madden team faces off against the NFL Superstars in a clash of errors, featuring new presentation, commentary, and audio honoring the voice that taught the world how to love football. In franchise mode, step into greatness as Coach Madden himself with an all-new Master Motivator archetype, complete with new coach abilities, play sheets, and playbooks inspired by his original game designs. Pursue greatness in Superstar mode with a new quest line inspired by Madden's core football philosophies, and build your roster in Ultimate Team with the program celebrating the legends and playstyles that define what it means to be all Madden. So basically every corner of the game is getting something dedicated to Coach John Madden. No matter what mode you play, there's going to be something there new that represents John Madden. And you'll first just see this when you start up the game. Now, as you load into the game, at the main menu, you're going to see new graphics of John Madden there, which I think is really a nice touch. I mean, this is his game after all, so I do think nobody would have an issue with this, right? This is kind of a nice touch just to see clips of John Madden and things that are honoring him. Now, as you go into the quick play, you can see that there is now a new All Madden game. You're going to have a legend roster versus a current day superstar roster. Also, within the screen, you can still play the Pro Bowl game as well. If you're looking for the Pro Bowl, it's now been moved inside of this as well, probably just because it takes up less space to do it this way. But we're here to look at the All Madden game. So as we load in, you're going to see there's a bunch of new presentation. You're going to see, again, you've got the two teams. They've got the specific playbooks for these teams that are going to be more Madden inspired playbooks. You'll even notice around the stadium, there's kind of little Easter eggs, if you will, like on the video screens, you will see John Madden famous slogans pop up on that. And there's just a bunch of little touches like that that just make it feel like a true tribute to John Madden himself. Now, there of course is all new commentary lines. It says fresh booth dialogue celebrating Coach Madden's Thanksgiving traditions and his impact on players, franchises, and fans across the league. Hear authentic commentary from Coach Madden himself, including original lines from our archives spotlighting gridiron greats like Jerry Rice, LaDainian Tomlinson, and Terrell Owens. In fact, let's just listen to a brief audio clip really quickly.
The legends going back on offense. Hall of Famer LaDainian Tomlinson in there at running back. And you think back to those Raider teams of the 70s. Coach Madden always loved to run the football, and he had some great running backs to rely on. But no one quite like LT, who he held in high regard. And here's what he had to say about the all-around abilities of the Charger great.
LaDainian Tomlinson is one of the best backs in the league. He has it all. I've watched him and I thought, I don't know if there's a guy that's better at running and catching and blocking and doing all the things that you have to do to be a running back.
Now, on top of that, they also have some throwback theme music. The iconic Madden NFL 06 theme song returns to set the tone. I believe you'll hear this at the main menu. When you're selecting your team before the game, you'll hear unique sound effects featuring John Madden's voice as well. And probably one of the coolest things about this whole Madden game is the post-game celebration. You finish the game with a post-game turducken celebration, the ultimate Madden Thanksgiving tradition that we see every year in the NFL. So that is pretty cool. And you can even see that they also have the real likeness for a lot of these legend players as well. As you can see here in the celebration, you can also see here in some of these up close shots, they've got real likeness for a lot of these players. I'm not going to say they have it for every single one, but for a good amount of them, real player likeness, which I think is a nice touch. Now to keep with this all Madden theme, we now move over to franchise mode, where they have a brand new coach archetype, Master Motivator. Inspired by Madden's unmatched passion and leadership, this archetype features 7 new abilities, 2 unique play sheets, and 2 all-new playbooks, each crafted around Coach Madden's signature style, including several plays recreated from the original John Madden football game. Now there are a ton of new plays that were added in this update, I believe over 1,000. This is part of that for sure with these playbooks, but there's also a lot of other stuff we'll cover later, but just wanted to kind of throw that in there. But moving on here, it says we're also thrilled to introduce an iconic addition to franchise mode, the ability to play as John Madden himself. If you choose the Las Vegas Raiders, you can actually select Coach John Madden, which is pretty cool, and he'll be on the sidelines and everything. You'll literally be Coach brought back to life in Madden. Now, in terms of the new abilities and play sheets, there's a bunch of new ones that you can now unlock. Of course, if you pick the new Master Motivator, which is based on John Madden, or you play as John Madden yourself, you will have some of these unlocked already, with some other ones that you can unlock later. You've got Boom, Run It Right at 'em. This boost helps the offensive line in the running game. You've got Make 'em Cover It All. This boosts the offensive play action, pass game, and wide receivers. You've got Win with 4. This boosts the defensive line pass rushing. You've got Jam 'em Up. This boosts the attributes to help the secondary in press and zone ratings. Then you've got Teach 'em Up. This boosts awareness, play recognition, stamina, and catching to strengthen the mental side of the game. You've got All Madden Effort. This boosts acceleration, strength, change of direction, and speed to enhance the physical side of the game. And then you've got Find the Right Guy, general scouting buffs for all draft prospects, which is pretty good. Then in terms of new play sheets, you have Old School Football, control the game with balanced power formations, and you have Hit 'em at the line, which is tough defensive pressure out of the 4-3, 3-4, and nickel formations. Now there's some more stuff for franchise mode as well, which we'll get to in a little bit. That was just the part that pertains to the new John Madden experience, but now let's jump into gameplay and talk about what changed there, and then we'll move into franchise mode as a whole. So the first thing is they upgraded the X Factor and Superstar players finally, and we've got to start with Puka Nacua, one of the most obvious ones. He got the Double Me X Factor, and he also got Route Technician added as an ability, which is one of the best abilities for a receiver, so he's going to be extremely hard to cover in the game now. Next up, we have Baker Mayfield, and he has the Brick Wall X Factor. Correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if any player in the regular game has ever had Brick Wall. I know you could get it in Ultimate Team, but I don't think on the regular rosters any quarterback has ever had this. And he also got the Gutsy Scrambler ability added as well, so a nice upgrade for Baker Mayfield. Another no-brainer was Jonathan Taylor. They gave him the Freight Train X Factor, but they did switch his abilities up a little bit. They removed Jukebox, which is one that I really like, and they removed Goal Line Back, and instead they gave him Tank and Closer. Now, Tank and Closer are pretty solid abilities, but I would have liked for him to keep Jukebox as well. Dak Prescott also got elevated to X Factor, and he's got the Run and Gun X Factor. None of his abilities changed, though. They all remain the same. Now here's an interesting one, Jackson Smith-Njigba. He was not even a superstar player in the game before this update, which is kind of crazy, and usually players don't jump from superstar all the way to X Factor, but he's having that good of a year. He's got the Double Me X Factor, and he's got the Deep Out and Mid Out Elite, meaning when he runs deep or medium routes outside the numbers, he's going to have some increased catching and route running there. And another no-brainer in my opinion, Jahmyr Gibbs finally gets elevated to X Factor. He's got the first one free, which is one of the better X Factors. But they also switched up his abilities. Before he had Jukebox and Reach for it. They removed those. They gave him Evasive, which is essentially having Jukebox and Spin Cycle, so that's better. And they gave him Human Joystick, which is super glitchy. I don't think they've ever given players in the regular game Human Joystick before. I believe this is the first time. We've seen it in Ultimate Team for years, but they've never actually given it to regular roster players, and Jahmyr Gibbs is one of the first ones to get it, which is pretty good. Now, in terms of new superstar players, we start with Jared Goff. He got the Pocket Deadeye ability. Not one of the craziest ones in the world, but he is now officially a superstar player. Rookie tight end Tyler Warren also got elevated to superstar. He's got Mid Out Elite and Short Out Elite, so any short or medium routes to the outside, he's going to get some increased route running and catching there. Another tight end, Jake Ferguson for the Cowboys. He's got Mid In Elite and Short Out Elite, so those are pretty decent. Matthew Stafford was another one we thought would get upgraded. He's got Set Feet Lead, which is pretty good. He's going to get that increased velocity when he throws with his feet set, and he's got Long Range Deadeye, so he won't be inaccurate on a lot of those long passes, which is also good. Devon Achane also got upgraded. They gave him Backfield Mismatch, which isn't terrible. I mean, he's going to have some better route running and catching out of the backfield, which is something he's good at, but I would have liked to see them, give him something like a Jukebox or a Human Joystick as well, something like that to make him just a little more powerful. Devin Lloyd, another guy we thought would get upgraded. He got some pretty good ones. Pick Artist and Short Route KO. Those are pretty good for a linebacker. Packers quarterback Jordan Love also upgraded. He got tight out and sideline deadeye. Sideline deadeye is pretty good if you're throwing those corner routes and things like that, but otherwise, not the craziest abilities. Rico Dowdle kind of coming out of nowhere this year. Of course, they upgraded him. They gave him the tank ability, which isn't the greatest in my opinion. I mean, he will break hit sticks, but that's about it. Here's a big one, Bucky Irving. Now, he's been hurt for a little bit, but he was looking really good before he got hurt. They gave him two of the best abilities, Jukebox and another running back that has human joystick. Him and Jahmyr Gibbs, the only two that have it, so he is going to be a lot more powerful in this game. Leonard Williams from the Seahawks also got upgraded. He has El Toro and Bogo, so those are pretty good from a pass rushing perspective. Garrett Bowles of the Broncos got Secure Protector. That's one of the best abilities you could get for a tackle. And another Bronco, Nick Benito, has been tearing it up for a couple years now. He's got Edge Threat, which is one of the best edge abilities in the game. So that's really good for the Broncos there with a couple of upgrades. Now, here are the players who are no longer X Factors. Travis Kelce, Matt Milano, Jair Alexander, which will probably get dropped again because I think he's kind of taking an absence from football right now. AJ Brown got dropped, which I'm surprised. I know he's not having the best year, but I don't really think it's much his fault as it is just kind of the scheme of the team, but surprised to see him get dropped. Kyle Hamilton, another guy I was surprised to see get dropped, and Quinn Williams as well. There's a few guys here that I'm actually surprised that they did drop down to superstar. And here are the players who are no longer anything. They don't have any abilities in the game at all. Cooper Kupp, DJ Moore, David Njoku, Tua Tagovailoa, Matthew Judon, Evan Ingram, Marlon Humphrey, Alvin Kamara, Chris Olave, Nick Chubb, Marshawn Lattimore, and Tariq Woolen. Now, that's not all for gameplay. They also addressed a number of issues that I think people will be pretty happy about. So first and foremost, they addressed the unrealistic QB speed boost when doing the QB juke in the backfield without holding sprint. This was kind of one of the biggest bugs with the game, so good that they finally got that fixed and out of the game. They also improved defender pursuit, so they now maintain a contained pursuit angle against the QB juke in general. It says, we've addressed both aspects of the QB jukes behind the line of scrimmage to escape the pocket tactic. Users no longer get a speed boost and defenders keep better containment. The move's effectiveness has been rebalanced to prevent it from being used to exploit defensive behavior. Two good fixes right there that were long overdue. They also fixed an issue preventing an audible to a new defensive play when a receiver is in motion during an auto motion play. So in this example right here, you'll see that I'm in a certain defense. Then as the receiver goes into his auto motion, I can now audible to a completely new defensive coverage, which is very helpful because sometimes certain auto motion plays can be used to kind of exploit maybe certain coverages. If you see that, you can now audible to a different play. They also returned the Raiders running back Ashton Genty's signature pre-snap stance to the upright stance. So now he'll go back to the stance that he kind of previously had. I know at a point he was changing it maybe, but he went back to it, and now that is represented in the game as well. They did tuning to make Ice the Kicker more consistently trigger inappropriate situations. They changed the route in the Gun Bunch X Nasty Y flat goal line play to a more authentic route. Now, I'm not going to lie, this play was kind of glitchy. It was definitely one of those exploit plays. I used it myself. I'm not even going to lie. And you could see this is what the previous play looked like. This is kind of what the art looked like on the previous play. This is what it now looks like. They've kind of completely changed up the routes on the right side of the formation. Not saying the play as a whole may be just unusable now, but it's not going to be the same glitchy play that it was before. They also fixed an issue where changing wear and tear subs at the play call would reset all the other coaching adjustments. That is no longer a thing. They also addressed an issue where blitzing an off-ball linebacker or mugging the A-gap with your user would sometimes result in a defensive tackle coming free against a double team block. And they also did some work here where it says defensive pass rushers now disengage earlier when the QB starts to scramble out of the pocket. So as you can see here in the clip, as I'm scrambling out, you can see that the pass rushers are going to do a better job at trying to disengage and still contain the QB. Now, I'm not going to say this is going to work every single play, but they're going to make more of an effort now to stop it. Here's another really big change, and this is going to be more so for people that play against the computer. AI play, something that has been a big complaint, I think, for years now, but it's gotten a lot louder this year. And what they did was a few things, but one of the big ones is they modified the AI run game play calling logic to rely more heavily on their most effective run types. So think of things like dives and stretches and inside zones. We know in Madden those runs tend to be better play calls. They're more consistent, whereas when you run counters and tosses and stuff like that, those runs runs can still work, but they seem to work at a lower clip. They're not the most effective runs. And even in the NFL, you see obviously teams use these different types of runs, but some of them are used a little differently in real life than maybe they are in Madden. And a lot of times teams just keep it simple. If a team is an outside zone team, they're running a lot of outside zone. If they like to run between the tackles, they're not doing anything too exotic. They're not prolonging the handoffs too much. It's pretty straight and to the point. So they've kind of modified the play calling logic so that, number one, the AI teams will call the run plays that just are more effective, more consistently than kind of just calling random run plays for the sake of random run plays. But that's not all. They did a lot more here. They reduced the unnecessary skill moves by ball carriers inside the tackles and behind the line of scrimmage. Ball carriers focus more on north-south running. And I went into practice mode and I kind of just recorded a bunch of clips back to back. I just let the AI play out. And you'll notice in the clips that the running back is now running the ball a lot more effectively than it was before. Before sometimes these inside runs, they would just bounce it outside for no reason. Or they would do moves behind the line of scrimmage where they really didn't need to. And it resulted in them getting no yards, losing yards, or maybe just getting 1 or 2 yards on plays where they could have got 4 or 5 yards. And it just made playing against the computer a real pain because they just could not run the ball effectively at all. And I think you'll find now after this update, with my limited testing of it, I only had so much time to play the game and test things. It seems like the AI definitely does make better decisions, especially on inside runs. Outside runs I find were a little bit better as well, but inside runs specifically, it seems like they find where they need to go, they get north-south, and they don't do anything too stupid anymore. So I think people will be pretty happy with this change. But that's not all. They also improved AI QBs, taking unnecessary sacks, better consideration of throwing the ball away when all the receivers are covered, and they improved the AI QB decision making when the game clock is low. QBs now manage the clock better by targeting the end zone or throwing the ball away near halftime and in late game situations. So I'm curious to see how this plays out with more testing, but it did look better to me in the limited time that I got to play. But that's not all, there's more. When I said this was the biggest update so far of 26, I'm not lying, there's just a lot of stuff here. Playbook-wise, this update is featuring a robust update for playbooks. We've added over 1,000 plays to various playbooks, including 17 new formations and 280 plus new plays. Now, I'm going to do a follow-up video kind of showing off some of these new plays just because if I show everything in this one video, this is going to be like a 45-minute video. That's how much content there is. So I'm going to do a follow-up video to this where I'm going to break down some of those other new things like plays, but here you can kind of see a list of some of the new stuff that's in the game. The 49ers got some new formations added, both existing formations that are just now new to their playbook, but also a new formation like the gun empty bunch tight. The Bears got some new formations, the Bengals, the Bills, the Broncos got some new formations, including a full house tight, which is a completely new formation. The Browns got some stuff added, gun bunch X nasty, which is nice for the Browns playbook. The Bucks got some new tight formations added. The Cardinals got some new formations added, including the gun bunch X nasty as well. Chargers got a few new formations, including a new gun bunch tight end weak. That one's pretty interesting. Can't wait to dive more into that. The Colts got some new formations added. The Commanders also got a decent amount of new formations added, including the bunch strong offset, so that kind of boosts the Commanders playbook quite a bit. You can see the Cowboys got stuff. The Dolphins got a new formation, the Go-Go Twins Flex, completely new, so that's cool. The Eagles got 2 brand new formations to the game, Gun Wing and Single Back Deuce. The Falcons got some new stuff, including Pistol. We see them run a lot of pistol in real life. The Giants got some new formations. Down the list, almost every team got something new. The Lions got a bunch of new stuff here. Gun bunch wide trips, completely new formation. The Maryland Eye close and the Maryland Eye tight close. And you can see here up on the screen just a bunch of other formations and teams and what they got. The Ben Kurtz Dime playbook also got another update. It was the best playbook in the game after the last update because of what was added, and now they've added gun doubles flex, gun normal Y off weak, gun trio halfback weak, and gun Y trips weak. And here's also a list of some specific new plays that were added. Again, I'm going to showcase more of these in a following video, but you could see here's just an example of some plays that you can go look at when this update drops in these playbooks right here. They've also added some new defensive formations designed for passing situations, the nickel load double mug, the 2-4 load double mug, and the 3-3 load double mug. And up on the screen here, you can see the new defensive playbook updates in terms of which playbooks have which formations added. Some of them have the new formations added, and then some of these playbooks also just got some other formations in the game added as well. So always nice to see these playbooks getting more updated. Now let's move on to franchise mode. We spend a lot of time on the other things so far, but it's just jam-packed. Franchise mode finally got the wear and tear sliders. Now, I don't know if this was supposed to be in the game already or whatnot, but it's finally in franchise mode, and you can see you can now customize all the wear and tear sliders for pre-play impact, tackle impact, hit stick impact, catch tackles, end of quarter recovery, per game recovery, per week recovery. You can now customize this to a T, which is something franchise mode fans have been waiting for. You can also use the preset recovery kind of sliders where you can do normal, which just keeps everything normal. You can do keep fresh, which is meant to keep your players fresh. You could do this by position group. So you might want your running backs on keep fresh, but your quarterback, obviously, you don't want your quarterback getting subbed out. You could also do grind it out, where you're telling your starters to just mainly, they have to grind it out and play the majority of the snaps regardless. Or you could also do a custom setting where you can set the sliders to just the frequency that you want players rotating in and out. They also did some coach ability tuning as well. In an effort to make coach abilities more powerful, we took a pass on all abilities, tuning several of the modifiers used by gameplay coach abilities within franchise mode. The increase in ability power was designed to make choices feel more meaningful and impactful, mirroring the influence of top NFL coaches have on shaping game plans and matchups. So basically now they've just kind of modified a lot of the abilities in the game. I'll pop up the list up on the screen here if you want to pause and read them. But basically now, for a lot of the abilities that are in the game, they're just increasing the impactfulness of them, so they're going to have more of an impact on the game, so you'll probably feel them more than you did before, whereas before maybe they just didn't feel like they did a whole lot. So always good to take a pass over those things and see what needs tuning, and it looks like they did that here for franchise mode. And it says, in addition to increasing the power of gameplay abilities, they've also adjusted the amount that attributes are increased when using an ability boost ability. Previously, all attribute-based abilities like Field General, Workhorse, and Mano a Mano would increase attributes by +4 for each tier, and that has now been increased to +7 for those abilities. And they also added 4 new play sheets to franchise mode on top of the specific Madden play sheets that we covered earlier. The new play sheets are Max Protect, focus on passing plays with 6 or more players in protection designed to counter strong pass rushes and blitz heavy defenses. They also added a Mug Life defensive play sheet built entirely around Mug defensive formations, continue to confuse offensive protections, and incorporate several new formations and plays introduced in this title update. The Manifesto defensive play sheet, a man coverage focused play sheet boosting man coverage ratings and the defense at higher tiers, and the Deep Freeze defense, a zone coverage based play sheet aimed at neutralizing pass defenses. Emphasis is on cover 2 and cover 4 drop concepts to protect the top and force offenses into shorter passing games. Now moving on to presentation, they did a few things here. The main thing is they added 3 new team entrances for the Steelers, the Seahawks, and the Titans. So at the beginning of the year, they redid all the team intros, and as you may have noticed, some of them are a lot more in depth than others. Some of them are longer and more detailed. Some of them kind of felt a little unfinished, so this is something they're continuing to work on, and they're going to work on until next year for sure at building out some of these other teams. And they did that here, as you can see. The Pittsburgh one is a little bit better now. It's got Snoop Dogg, the legend before the game with the terrible towel. Then for the Seahawks, they've got the 12th man flag, and it's Marshawn Lynch raising the 12th man flag, so adding a little bit more there. And then for the Titans, they have the Sword of Honor and a little bit more detail into that intro as well. So it's just good to see them kind of adding these little things now, building out some of the other teams that still need more detail in their intros. Now, in terms of UI at the play call screen, they've also added the 2025 season rivalry matchups. They're now available in Play Now. So if you go into Play Now, there is a tab specifically for the rivalry matchups where they'll have the rivalry uniforms, and they're the exact matchups that have played out this year and will continue to play out. So if you want to just specifically go jump in and play a quick game of the rivalries, you can now do that. And they did also add some other art and player likeness, which I will cover in tomorrow's update when it drops so that I could get footage of this stuff. But we will be going over that in a separate video and showing off some of the other new things that they added to the game. But this is basically just to cover all of the important John Madden stuff, gameplay, and franchise mode related additions. But really big update. I think a lot of people will be happy with the changes that were made here. Now, while you're here, if you're having trouble with defense in Madden 26, I suggest that you watch this video right here, and you'll be getting a lot more defensive stops in Madden 26, guaranteed.